Hey, I'm Angie, and welcome to my podcast, Chaotic Harmony. So, I'm sure we've all had one of those days. And I mean one of those days like you can never ever have one of those days again. One of those days where it's before that day and then after that day, whenever you reference something. My days I thought were all used up. I've had plenty of loss. Our family has had plenty of loss. So I thought all of my before this day and after this days were used up. And I was wrong. I hate admitting that I was wrong, but yeah, I'm here standing tall and proud to admit that I am fucking wrong. My day that changed everything was just recently, February 6th to be exact. My alarm clock went off and my day was already planned out, almost to like the exact minute. I had to send my son off to school, send the other one to work, go to my doctor's appointment after I brought my son to work, and then hopefully go to the pharmacy and get the medication I was going to be prescribed, and then maybe get a little bit of grocery shopping in there. So, see, my days up until that moment and that point were basically filled with emotions that I either created or manifested. My days were played out based on my mindset that day. So if someone would have told me that I was going to be chasing an ambulance to Nina on February 6th, I would have laughed it off. My day was not planned that way. I guess what I'm getting at is all the plans and schedules I love to live by are shit now. They are. Why on earth did I ever plan a day when I don't even like change? If I left room for the unknown ever, maybe, just maybe, that tall tale about chasing an ambulance, maybe it wouldn't have been so laughable. I might have left a little room for all of the, well, maybe it could happen, who knows. No, but instead my mind was so closed off to all of the possibilities of losing someone, having any life-changing events happen, and so on. Because our family, like I said, already had endured enough loss and pain. For some reason, my mind believed that because of all that and all the pain we had, we were all immune to anything else happening. And this again is where I was wrong. I will admit that. So my husband, Tony, he has had problems passing gas for a while now. And not just passing gas. He's been having like acid reflux just as soon as he eats or afterwards. He gets sick. And he would just lay there in agony in bed. And now I understand that kind of pain because it also was happening to me. And to be honest, I chalked it up to the fact that we were both taking the Ozempic shot for our diabetes, not for weight loss. But I also know my husband. He doesn't complain about literally anything. And if he does, it has to be taken seriously. So the night before, which was February 5th, it was a Wednesday, was terrible. Tony couldn't get comfortable at all. He was tossing and turning in bed. I didn't even know how to help him at all. And it actually, if I even attempted to try to help, he would just because he was in so much pain, he was angry, and aggravated. So it was like, get the fuck off me. I brought up, the fact that I could take him to the emergency room, but he dismissed that idea. But also, he didn't completely dismiss it. He actually said, if he doesn't feel any better in the morning, then he would kind of think about it. I fell asleep that night feeling extremely bad for him and hoping that he felt better in the morning. So when I fall asleep, I fall asleep. Like, it's hard to wake me up. So yeah, I don't know what happened after I fell asleep. But I did wake up the next morning and I started following my plan for the day. Colton was off to school. Matthew was getting ready for work. I got him in the truck or the Jeep. And I went to my doctor's office appointment. When I was leaving the appointment, my doctor's appointment, the worst part of my day was the diagnosis of a UTI. Nothing like a UTI to ruin your day. And especially the way that it happened, actually. Which, you guys probably don't need to know this, but I'm just going to add this in there. I'm going through menopause. And if you're going through menopause, you would probably understand you get a little dry. So my husband and I, we used a little lubricant. And that caused a UTI. So yeah, that diagnosis was literally the worst part of my day. Tony was gone at work when I left, so I didn't see him. And I tried texting him and I really didn't get much because, well, he's busy at work anyway, so. But when I got home and I actually saw his truck in the yard, or his car in the yard, I knew something was wrong. I ended up finding him in front of our bathroom on the ground. The pain that he had multiplied. And he was literally just like freaking out in pain. The man that I loved, or I should say love, my rock, was on the ground in front of our bathroom yelling out in pain. In the 16 years that we have been together, I have never seen him like this. Truly have never seen him like this. It was heart-wrenching, and the day was officially off track, and I wasn't prepared for what was to come next. And that's the problem with pre-planned days. I left no room for the unexpected. And fun fact, I'm going to try my damnedest to not have any more pre-planned days after this. So I finally all right, Tony, are we going? Can I take you to the emergency room? I can't handle this anymore. This is horrible. And I wasn't even the one in pain, but I just could not see him like this. And he finally was like, get me in, let's go. And as soon as he got up to get into the Jeep, I was like, I need to get him there now, or he might back out of this plan. So and also it just so happened to have been the windiest fucking day that day. So the drive was not very fun. Just getting him into the vehicle, I didn't have to assist him, but it was hard enough for him to get in there and just be comfortable because he's literally his stomach was bloated, and I mean bloated. He looked like Santa Claus. Now, he has a little beer belly to him, and he always had, but this was huge. So I wanted to get him to the ER and with as little impact as possible, drive as smoothly as possible, but as quickly as possible. But yeah, that wind did not fucking help at all. I was swerving all over, and it seemed like any movement that was made, it made Tony feel even worse. I knew he was in pain, so I tried like hell to focus on the road and try not to get into my head. That 29-minute ride felt like an eternity. He had his legs moving in all directions. The chair was reclined back as far as it could go, hands holding his belly, and the sounds of pain and agony took over the space that we had left in the Jeep. Seeing and hearing him broke me, and I kept trying to drive. I kept trying to look over at him, and it was like he was yelling at me, and I knew he was yelling at me because he was in the pain, so he wasn't actually yelling at me. He just needed to get it out, So I was extremely thankful that, he was not backing out on the idea of going to the ER. So I just focused and stayed as quiet as fucking possible so he wouldn't freak out on me. and just get him in there as fast as I could. As stubborn as he can be, I knew that I needed to get there and get it done fast, or he was going to say, fuck it. I wasn't going to allow the fuck it scenario. And once you know it, the time he actually needs the most help, the ER happens to be full. And I mean fucking full. He was put into the system, taken into a spare room for vitals, then given a choice, waiting room or hallway. Are you kidding me? Waiting room or hallway? We're in an emergency room. I understand that it's a smaller place, but are you serious? There was the spare room we were in. Nobody was in. He could have been in there, but no. It was waiting room where it was packed full of people, and then you're making a scene in there, or hallway. If you chose hallway, I could not be in there because then I would be a trip hazard. Listen, Linda. If I'm a trip hazard, so is my husband, who is in pain and agony and was on the ground in the middle of our room by our bathroom. So I was pissed. I was pissed off. I wanted to yell. I wanted to take my anger out on someone, but I just sucked it up. I'm like, all right, whatever he wants. He chose the hallway. So I ended up going back into the waiting room. I had a hard time with it. I did, but I needed to know like what my husband was dealing with. Like sitting around a bunch of strangers all while my mind was jumping from one scenario to another was, not fucking fun. And I'm sorry I'm having a hard time with this because it's just all super overwhelming, but I want you guys to like come along with my journey, so I don't feel so alone. Even though I'm not the one actually going through it, I kind of am, kind of not, I guess. Either way, just bear with me, please. So I was sitting around a whole bunch of people, and I was trying not to make a scene myself. And if you know me, you know I make a scene most of the time. So here I am sitting in this room, like emergency room area, and literally there's no chairs left. There's a little girl kicking and screaming with her mom. And then all of a sudden over the loudspeaker, I hear stroke, hallway of ER. And it blasted out from the ceiling. And I'm like, wait. Tony is in the hallway. And without hesitation, I like jumped up. I ran towards the administration lady, literally yelling, my husband is in that hallway. Is he having a stroke? Now, tears just flooding down. Like the emotions were just like overtaking my whole entire body. I thought my husband was having a stroke. I heard it. I knew he was in the hallway. It had just, like he was only in there for like 5 minutes maybe. That poor lady saw and heard the desperation in my voice. She quickly went to work, pounding on that keyboard, and with a sigh of relief, told me, honey, it's not him. I almost didn't hear her due to the like adrenaline rush I was going through. And I was like, what? She's like, hon, it's not him. I'm so sorry you had to hear that. Yeah, I wanted to run and hide after that, but like, do you blame me for acting like that? Ugh. The love of my life, the man made of one singular emotion, built of steel, was in so much pain that he allowed me to take him into the emergency room. So the whole idea of having a stroke was definitely a fucking possibility. So yeah, I was extremely thankful that it wasn't him. And so I slowly walked myself back to the cold, very uncomfortable waiting room chair. And yeah, I was just feeling kind of guilty all at the same time that it wasn't him, because that meant that somebody else was having a stroke. So it really was a lose-lose situation there, but yeah. But that's when 1 minute felt like an eternity. And then 2 minutes that had passed felt like hell, and so on. I tried to read the book that I brought with, But every time I opened it up, my mind wandered to something else. That's when an elderly lady that was quietly sitting in the corner reading the newspaper got up from her chair, took the newspaper that she had in her hands out, and went up to the man that was near her and was saying how if they have time, she really needs to go see that movie. And, she was like this little old lady, so she had the voice that carried just like mine does. And the man was quiet, but you could tell, like, I felt like I was almost watching my husband and I just at a much later stage in life. And she was like, we really do need to see it. Yes, we do have the money. I saved it. I know I saved it. And they went back and forth. And then he's like, all right, dear. And he like just surrendered himself to her. And I ended up catching myself like almost feeling like I was a part of them, and it took me away from the situation that I was in for a little minute there. And then I watched them like help each other put their matching very old Green Bay Packer jackets on and leave. And I thought, that's my couple goals right there. My old, like, that's what I want for the rest of my life. I want to irritate my husband, my old man. I want to tell him we're going to a movie and I want him to say, fine, just to shut me up. And then I know he's probably going to have a hearing aid because he doesn't even hear me nowadays. So he's going to then click the hearing aid off and just listen to me or watch me rant. That's my couple goals. And here I was watching that going, oh, that might not actually happen. Like, I really thought he had a stroke for a second there. So what's next? And then I hear, okay, he's got a room now. You can come back. Thank fucking God. Because I was about to lose my mind after that old couple left. And I slowly was like, I followed the lady over to his ER room. When I got into his room, he was laying in his bed that it is so comfortable. And he looked fucking miserable. I mean, I took a picture of just his face because I'm one that takes pictures of like everything and anything and nothing. And I just like wanted it to like look back at later, but he really looks like death in that picture. And you could see like his stomach is just extended. And by the time that I actually got back there, they had already taken a scan, did some blood work and all that. So I just sat next to him and watched them come in and out of the room. And then for my husband to say that he's in pain and needs pain medicine, that hits hard because my husband is, his parents are both drug addicts. So he's had to deal with that his whole life. So growing up, so he doesn't take Tylenol for anything. Like he just doesn't like drugs in general. So for him to say, hey, I need something for pain, that says a lot about what he's going through. So they're asking him to rate his pain. And he's like, I don't know how to rate pain because he's never had to. So they end up coming and giving him some medicine for that. And then all of a sudden, like all of this happened so fast. And then all of a sudden we were told, hey, you need to be transferred and you'll have to go by ambulance. And your scan came back and they saw something and they might want to do an exploratory surgery. That is basically all we were told at that time was, you're going to be in an ambulance, exploratory surgery. What the shit? Like, why aren't we being told more? Like, I wanted to know more and I was asking, but yeah, we got no answers, just exploratory surgery. So then we end up finding out that we had to wait even longer for him to be transferred because every single person that was in an ER room at this clinic was being transferred to the same clinic in Neenah. That says a lot about that emergency room. Just don't go into that emergency area, okay? It's in New London. Just don't go. Don't go. They're just going to transfer you. And like I said, it was the windiest day ever. So, yeah, the ambulance ride, he tells me, it was not fun at all. For me, I as soon as I heard that he was going in ambulance, as soon as I watched them like gurney him up, I gave him a kiss and I was just trying to hold all my emotions in because the last thing he needed was meltdown Angie, you know. So I tried to suck it all up and I said, well, I need to eat, so I'm going to get something to eat quick and then I will meet you up in Neenah. I was told by the nurse that he was going to be taken into the emergency room area at Neenah. So that's where I was supposed to go. So like I said, I watched him go on the gurney and I didn't see him get into the ambulance, but I watched him being taken out. And I went across the road, got some food, got some gas, hauled ass to Neenah. I actually thought that I was too late. So I sat in that emergency room, waiting room in Neenah for a while. And I had asked, is my husband here? And they're like, nope, we'll let you know though. And a lot of freaking time went past, like a lot. And I'm like, there's just doesn't feel right. So I went up there again. I'm like, listen, I don't know if I explained this enough, but like my husband was in New London. This is what's happening. They said exploratory surgery. She goes, oh, let me go check. Let me check. Oh, honey, you're actually supposed to go all the way across the building and be in that waiting room. Really? She's like, and you better hurry up because it looks like they're getting him prepped for surgery. Really? I was in that waiting room for almost an hour. And he was already there and prepped for surgery and told what was going on. And mind you, by the time I I was running and I do not run. I am not a runner. I'm a big girl. I do not run. I was running to that waiting room just so I can see if I can get there, before he gets wheeled out for surgery and to actually know what's going on. And I made it there just in freaking time. They ended up, are like, are you here for Anthony? I'm like, yes. They bring me back and my husband is loopy. Like they already had sedated him a little bit. He's loopy and he doesn't look like he's in much pain, but he was getting irritated. And he never goes into the hospital, the doctor's office. Like, he doesn't know what the hell's going on. Me, I've had plenty of surgeries. I know exactly why they're asking all these questions. He thinks they're idiots and they don't know what the hell they're doing. So they kept asking him, Tony, can you tell us why you're here? Tony, can you tell us what we're going to be doing to you? And he was like, why are you keep asking me that? You're supposed to know what you're doing. Like he was getting kind of scared that they actually didn't know what the hell they were doing. And I'm like, babe, they need to know that you comprehend what is happening right now. And he's like, oh yeah. And then, so I was able to help with that and put his beautiful, beautiful hospital slippers on and kiss him goodbye and off he went. I was told a couple of what ifs. All of those what ifs, I was like, oh God. But I don't even see that happening, so whatever. Those what ifs were a colostomy bag. He would have, there was a couple of, the colostomy bag was the biggest one that I know of, that I remember, I should say. And I was like, I don't even know what the hell that is, but like, okay, whatever, just take care of him, And then I was put into the surgery waiting room. Now, mind you, this place in Neenah, we went to the ThedaCare in Neenah, was actually quite awesome. They had it's a nice sitting area. They have, bars there for you. They have, like granola bars and water bottles and coffee and all the things that you could need when you're sitting there mindlessly trying to spare time or waste time, I should say. And it wasn't like everybody was sitting on top of everybody, there was like a lot of space. So there was a few people in there besides me, waiting for their loved ones or whatever. And so, yeah, we were all in our own little bubble. And then I'm a people watcher. I have admitted this a million times on this podcast. So I was laughing and kind of geeking out a little bit. Only because the two guys that were like way across the room were sleeping, and one of them was snoring really hard and was like laying on two chairs. And the other one, for some reason, his hand was all the way up. Like he was reaching for the fucking stars, and he was snoring as well. I was like, what? How do people sleep like that? That's messed up. So it kind of took my mind off of it for a second. But then I was like, wait, why don't I Google up what a colostomy bag is, right? So I do that. Interesting. My husband's butt might be on his stomach. That's a little fucked up. Really hope that is not a what if, like who wants to have two buttholes? Probably nobody. And I never knew anything about it, never heard or seen anybody. I should say I've heard of it, but I've never seen it, and all the things that would have to be done with it. I should have never have Googled it up, I guess is what I'm saying. Either way, that was all gross to me. I went outside, vaped a little bit, and then all of a sudden people are leaving, their surgeries are done. So I'm like, oh, my husband's surgery must be done soon. And sure enough, I get a phone call. A phone call that sucked fucking ass, okay? It was his surgeon. Very nice guy. He cut straight to the point. No, he didn't sugarcoat anything. And I actually do appreciate that. It just sucked hearing the news. He ended up telling me that my husband did have a colostomy bag. And they removed a 5-centimeter tumor that was there. And he's been a surgeon long enough to know that it is cancer, but they do have to send it out for pathology just to, make sure and know what stage and all of that. So my husband will be, here admitted into the hospital to, get a little bit of healing in, and then we'll go from there. He'll set us up with a cancer team and all that. I did not say the kindest thing to the doctor, but nobody can prepare for that kind of phone call, right? Nobody. So here I am. I'm like, what? Are you fucking kidding me? And then I realized what I had just said to him, but he's like, ma'am, I have been doing surgery for a very long time. And cancer is not something I would joke around about. I'm like, no, I'm not saying you are. I'm just like, this is a joke. Like, this is not happening to us. Like no. No. And he said, I'm sorry, hon. It is. But like I said, it'll be sent to pathology and we'll go from there. And then, he said goodbye and he wishes us nothing but the best. And then hung up. There was a few people left in that waiting room. And if they are listening to this, I do not apologize for how I acted afterwards. I literally was already up on my feet when I said, are you fucking kidding me? And then I screamed and then and I'm thankful that that entrance, door or whatever to the hospital, the main entrance, I'm thankful it was very close to that room because I busted out of there. It was freezing cold outside. Didn't give a fuck. I screamed all the way to where my Jeep was parked. I got into my Jeep and I'm actually surprised that I don't need plastic surgery all over my fucking face because as soon as I got into our Jeep, I pounded the shit out of our steering wheel, not thinking about, oh, there's an airbag back there. No, I pounded it and I was screaming and I was crying, snots flying everywhere. All I could think about was my kids. They've all endured losing a parent. how the fuck am I going to call them and tell them that dad has cancer? Because prior to this, they knew that, hey, he has gas. He can't fart. He can't shit, you know. We never entertained the idea of cancer. So we have 8 children. 8. So I had to tell all 8 children that dad had cancer. And I also couldn't wrap my head around the fact that I'm the one that's always sick, okay? He's not allowed to be sick. Come on, he's taking my thunder, you know? Like, I'm always sick. I was the one that was supposed to have cancer. And I say that because my family is, like, loaded with it. Why him? You know? Like, why him? He's, like, the strongest guy I know. He's the leader of our cult that we made. Why him? And also, like, what if this is like a death sentence, you know? Like, I didn't know anything that was going on. What if it was a death sentence? This is my soulmate. Like, as soon as everything starts getting good and really good and like we're living a good fucking life, and I don't mean that money-wise. I mean just in general, our relationship is solid. We're having fun. We're making each other laugh. We're having fun with our kids. We're playing with our grandkids. That's the wealth that we have. We don't have money, but we have that love and all of that. Just when it got super fucking solid, life wants to take it away from me? No, I don't fucking think so. But I don't make those calls. So, chapter 2, he is in the hospital. And we end up, I say we because I did not leave that. I only left a couple times to go to take a shower. But either way, he got in there and actually I have to rewind a little bit. I found that out, right? I'm freaking out in my Jeep. And then all of a sudden, I went back in and I could see him. So now, mind you, I was just in the Jeep. I could have gotten my face pounded by the fucking airbag. Luckily that didn't happen. But if it did, I was at a hospital. So, to be fair. Either way, all of those emotions were all there, and they're like, okay, you can come see your husband now. That is all I literally wanted, was to see my husband the entire fucking day. But the hospital kept pushing us away. So I'm expecting him to know what's going on. Oh, I should laugh. I'm expecting him to feel the same way I'm feeling about the whole situation, because he's the one with the cancer. He's the one with a new butthole on his stomach. Like, he should be feeling a certain way also. That's what I was expecting. So I just needed to get over to him and give him a kiss and say, I love you and all that, and just see him and be near him. So when I got near him, let me tell you, the surprise, the way that he was not what I was expecting. All of a sudden, I look over at the male nurse that's there is like, I don't know what's going on. He's been like this the whole time. And the female nurse that came and got me, she tried to warn me that, he was a little loopy. But I didn't take her, serious at all. And I really wish I would. And if she's listening to this, because she said she would, thank you for being awesome and understanding. So I go by him and I'm like, hey, baby, I love you so much. And he's like, what? What's going on? And then starts singing a song that I had listened to on and off for many, many years. I am obsessed with watching the Saturday Night Live songs that they have. And one of them has Lady Gaga in it. And it's in a 3-way, I think it's called. And it's not gay if it's in a 3-way is how it goes. So I go to give him a kiss, and everything, and I look over at the male nurse, and he's like, yeah, I don't know what's going on. And then Tony goes, hey, hon, it's not gay if it's in a three-way. It's okay if it's in a three-way. I'm like, what? Baby, like, what is going on right now? And I guess what he had told me was he woke up from anesthesia and like saw a guy on one side and then looked over and on the other side and saw a girl there, and then immediately his mind went to, it's not gay if it's in a three-way. And that's all he kept fucking singing for like over an hour in the hospital. So I was like, babe, do you know what's going on? He's like, what? What's going on? It's not gay. I'm like, no, like, dude, you have cancer. Why do people keep telling me that? It's not gay. I was like, hon, just shut off. So I was thankful, like, it almost like took the wind out of my sail, I guess you could say. Like, I was all these emotions, but then when I got to see him, he was just fine. He was singing It's Not Gay If It's in a Three-Way. So why bother him with all that other crap, you know? So we ended up going into his room, and I will say that the entire time we were there, we had some amazing staff. Like the staff members, the nurses, and all of the doctors, they were all super amazing. And I didn't realize how quote unquote cute my husband and I are together until we were at that hospital stay. We were told by, oh my God, so many actually, people that we were, oh my God, you guys are like so cute. Oh my God. Really? We were taught, I kept saying like, dude, the way you're acting right now, if cancer don't take you, I'm gonna. How is that cute? And I was just kidding. I'm throwing that out there. I was just kidding. But that's my kind of humor. I have that dark sense of, humor. But like, how is that cute? But I guess it was. So now his stay didn't, like, the way that he was healing didn't go exactly, the way that they would have wanted or he would have wanted. So there was a few hiccups in that. The worst I saw him was I left and he was like not feeling the greatest, and I left for home to make sure that there was cat food here, dog food, take a shower, grab some more clothes, because I literally thought we were only going to be there maybe a day or two, not 9, 10, whatever. So I took a quick shower. I talked to my son Matthew, had a bowl of cereal with him, and left for the hospital. When I got there, he looked way fucking different than when I left. He had this huge tube down his nose, and it went down his throat and into his stomach, and it was an NG tube, and it ended up being like removing the gas or the fluid that was from his stomach. And that was like the worst I've seen him. Otherwise, he was like good. He was good. He had an extra butthole. He said he was actually feeling better than he had in years. And then all of a sudden, this tube goes in because his stomach was just still so full of gas and everything. So they were hoping that tube would help remove all of that. He was super miserable from that, and it was hard to see him. And then also, I will say he was very demanding and kind of obnoxiously demanding. And, he had every right to be. He did. But hear me out. For many, many years, I've been a Propel drinker. I drink Propel. I don't drink regular water. I hate regular water. I drink Propel. He bitched about it all the fucking time. Gets into the hospital. All of a sudden, they're saying, you cannot drink anything when you have this tube in you. And he's, give me some goddamn Propel. And he's like trying to steal my shit. Are you serious? Now you're demanding Propel? But like 2 weeks ago, you were bitching I drink too much? Like, get a grip. So I ended up buying Propel for him, a lot of it. Sneaking him ice chunks when he wasn't supposed to. All that kind of stuff. And I knew I was probably making the problem worse, but hear me out. As soon as he drank it, I watched the tube suck it out. Like literally, as soon as it went into his mouth, it was back in that tube. I watched it. So was it really causing a lot of harm? I don't know. But I was just trying to make my husband happy. And if he wanted that, I was going to do it. So then that stayed in for about a day or so. And then he ended up getting it out. And then we started, like, he had to start taking walks, which was, I think that was probably my favorite time, only because his personality perked up a little bit more. It was like, he is not a person to like sit and, you know, I could understand why he didn't graduate, and I can understand why, because school would not have been his thing, because he cannot sit still. He's got to be doing something. He's a busybody. He's a worker. Like, he has to be doing something. So he was wanting to walk around a lot. And then when he would walk around, he'd get a little goofy. And all of a sudden I'd see my husband again. Like, oh, he's back, you know? Fuck it, who cares? I don't care that he's got an extra butthole. You know what? I'll make fun of it. I will make it my bitch. You know, like, who cares? So those walks, I think, is what made us quote unquote cute, because he was trying to say that he was going on a hunger strike because he really, really wanted some, like, what was it? It was not oatmeal, cream of wheat. It was cream of wheat. He's like, I need some cream of wheat. And so I made a little, like, reel, put it on Facebook. And he got, like, over 1,000 views on it, actually. So I'm quite impressed. But he was, like, trying to fake run with his pole. And I'm like, suspect is going on a hunger strike for cream of wheat. And then the whole, like, staff thought that was hilarious, I guess. And then he was trying to jump out a window or whatever, you know, whatever. But yeah, so he was walking around and I saw, like, my husband coming back around. That felt great. And then all of a sudden I leave, again, to get more clothes and whatnot. And then I make it quick because the last time I left, I came back and he was in much worse state. So I made it real quick. And I got back and he was giggling, telling me about a worker that was there to, like, clean the room, and how he was picking on her, and she ended up being a riot. She was saying, when I guess a doctor was in there and was talking to him, and she's like, oh, I come clean room. I no stab you. And so what ended up happening is then every day after that, she would walk in and we would go, you're not going to, like, stab us, are you? And she's, oh, no, I not stab you. So it was cute. We ended up feeling like they were family. That's how long we were there. We could have probably been there longer, but yeah, it was just cute. And then, you know, adjusting to the whole colostomy bag, that is a challenge. And, you know, kudos to anybody that has an ostomy, because, damn, I feel like all day, every day, we are focusing on shit. Like, literally shit. If it's not like, did you take your shot? Like, it's constantly about shit or the shit bag and all that. So, like, kudos to you guys that have it under control and all that. We're still learning, and it's going to be a process for a while. So they told us that, you know, once Tony is done with all of his treatment for cancer, they will be able to, I say rewire it, but they can reverse it to where, you know, he can use his regular butthole, and then he'll just have the scar from where his new butthole is now. I call his original one the OG. So, like, hey, your OG is looking real good in those pants. I like to pick on him about that. That is how we make it through all this stuff. But that ostomy, that is a pain in the ass. And to be honest, most of the time that I was there with him, like most of the time we were there, I tried to avoid it at all costs because I was still trying to wrap my brain around the fact that he's got a bag hanging from his stomach. It didn't like, it would not turn me off to him or anything. It was just weird, different. And I like to embrace the weird and I like the different, but I just needed to get used to it for a little bit, just to see it, like them take care of it. Because I was scared, like, oh, I don't want to be shit on. I don't want to be fucking his bag up. Because honestly, he fucked his own bag up. He went to empty it in the middle of the night and shit was literally everywhere. And then when the nurse that came in to help him with it, and somehow I slept through this. I don't know how. But when she went to help him fix it, she didn't do it right and shit was everywhere again. So it's like, oh my God, I don't want to go home and have shit everywhere all the time. Like, what the hell? So it took me a little bit, but at the end of that hospital stay, I'm still becoming a master. I'm not fully a master yet on it. It does not gross me out anymore. Now I actually find it fascinating, and that's a little weird to admit, but hear me out. I get to look at my husband's intestine. Like, it is weird, and it does sound really nasty, but I've always liked that kind of stuff. It fascinates me, and I know I'm not the only one because my sister-in-law said that shit fascinates her too. So, yeah, with that being said. But there was a lot of things that come, along with the ostomy. You have to have all kinds of supplies, right? And you need to have knowledge of all of that and training, and we were offered a nurse that could come here until I learned how to do it. I don't like people in my house in general, so I was going to learn it before we left, and if I needed help, my sister-in-law, she's a nurse, she could come and help me out. But if anybody ever goes through this, do make sure that you know like what to do, how to do, all of that. And honestly, the people that do have it, they should be able to tell you like what to expect, not to expect, stuff like that. Because I didn't Google a whole lot of it up because I always end up looking at the worst side of everything. So I really didn't know everything. Tony said he wants to make his own journey. And I respect that. Like, I respect him. I respected that. He doesn't want me to look at other people's journey and be like, oh, well, they went through that, so you're going to go through that. He wants his own journey. And so I didn't look into all of that. So we're still having our little kinks here and there of, oh, shit, we shouldn't have done that. Mental note, don't do that again. But I think that's with everything in life, right? Like, this is the unexpected. I never expected to be sitting here right now in my bathroom hiding while he's sleeping just to do this because I needed to talk to someone. Even if it's me talking to myself, looking at a mirror. I don't give a shit. It's someone. Because this is a lot. This is a lot to take in. I never thought my before day was going to be February 6th. And now all of a sudden, now it's, all right, well, you have a colostomy bag. Now you are also going to have to go through chemotherapy. And then you're going to have to go through genetic testing. And hey, your kids are also now going to have a colonoscopy by the age of 35. And hey, you're stage 3 colon cancer. You know what? There's only 4 stages of cancer. So yeah, that's fucking terrifying to me. All of this is scary, right? And then the chemotherapy he's going to have, like on Friday, he's getting a port put into his chest. That's terrifying to me, just getting the port. But that's so that he can have the chemotherapy. And then when he leaves the chemotherapy, which will be about 4 or 5 hours every session, he will be coming home with extra medicine going through the IV for another 2 days. All of this is happening to a very strong man and young. So I get that his chances are very, like, they're in his favor. But because I only thought he had gas pain and was having to deal with that, and it turned into this, I can't not think that, hey, I can't scratch the idea of this could be worse. because it really could be. And being in like when we went to a cancer center, after he was taken out of the hospital, that was scary too, because it's a lot of information. You're literally I'm still trying to absorb all of it now. And then it's like, hey, your tumor is a T3N1M0. And do you want to do this trial? And then I get in an argument with my husband, like, no, you're not doing the fucking trial. And he's like, shut up, it's my body. It's like, oh my God. Was not prepared for any of that. Was not prepared to see the people around me looking extremely sick. Well, I mean, we're in a cancer center, so of course they're going to look sick. But I wasn't expecting it because my husband looks just fine. And to be fucking honest, he's actually acting like the sex is amazing right now. Yeah, it's amazing. I should not be like out here like, hey, guess what, guys? But hear me out. Before this happened, he couldn't even get it up because we thought it was his age. We thought he needed blue pills, but he couldn't because his heart, he has heart issues on his parents' side. So like, yeah, there was like, we were maybe a once a monther, and I got adapted to that. But then all of a sudden this gets cut out. He comes home and it's like almost every day, if not more. It's like, babe, what the fuck? So now I'm getting used to that. So he's like, well, I feel better than anything. I feel so much better and younger, and I haven't felt this great in my life. And it's like, I'm seeing that. So like, I don't want him to have the chemo because of that, but I don't want him to have the cancer anymore. So I want him to have the chemo. So when it came to the trial, I didn't want to have to constantly like think he still has it in his blood or this and that. So I just needed him to have that. But I also don't want to see him go from where he's at right now, and trust me, I don't want the sex to stop either, to chemo and then all of those like side effects from all that. But I need my husband. I can't do life without him. And I'm scared. I'm so scared. And terrified. Because I don't know if I could be... Actually, I know. I know I'm not the best parent. And I know that they love him. And he's everything, And it's like, I could not be the person I am without him. He is a piece of me. So if I lose him, I lose myself. So yeah, I'm scared. And that's where I'm going to probably end this because I don't want to get any worse here. But, so our journey has just began. He has stage 3. Like I said, colon cancer. He's got 2 buttholes, which actually our grandson Emmett, he knows that Bumpa has a butthole on his stomach, so he tried to show us his butthole, which was just his little belly, and it was so cute. So it's kind of cute that, we can make little jokes about it, but deep down, all those jokes, they actually aren't very funny at all. But if you're still listening to this and you want to continue on our journey, I promise to make it a lot lighter, I think. I don't know. Who knows what's going to be thrown at us, but stay tuned. And just know that if you cannot go to the bathroom and you're having stomach pains and your stomach is bloated, go in. Get those colonoscopies. Like, I cannot preach that enough, and I might actually make it my life's mission to be telling people to check their butts. Like, what's up your butt? Seriously. Because no woman wants to watch their husband, or no man wants to watch his wife go through this. It is awful. If I could take it from him, I would. I really would. Because I'm a shit person. He's not. But anyways, I have to get ready for another day tomorrow, and tomorrow is a bag change, and we love bag changes, don't we, babe? With that being said, thank you for tuning in to my podcast. And yeah, I don't really know what else to say here. You can check me or find me on Facebook. And if you would like to support my podcast or our family, I actually have a campaign out right now because we lost his income and we do not have health insurance. You can donate to our campaign on Give, Share, Send, I think, or Give, Send, Share, or something like that. But it's on my Facebook. Or you can just click the support the show link, and that will also go towards our campaign. And last but not least, I want you to go out there and embrace the weird, like the really, really weird, and make normal feel boring. Bye.